Yeah, it's dedicated to all my homies locked down. Don't give up hope. Keep your mind focused. Trigger happy pappy, strong. Come on. Take these bars and put them in your conversary. The laws is deadly. Gotta get your mind ready. Pay attention.
Yo. We back. Part 2. Forecasting what's going on with the Diddy trial and the verdicts and the count 1. You know, that's a big issue with me. So me and my man Reem was talking off the record, and we had spoke before, looking at one of the counts, transportation prostitute, transportation and aid of prostitute. How did that come on?
Transportation.
What he charged with? Didn't that boy just read it?
Yeah, it's basically the Mann Act.
Okay, there you go.
And
That's
the Mann Act
kicked it off. The Mann Act is what kicked it off. Tell us about the Mann Act.
Transporting prostitution,
Basically
cross state lines.
Right. Okay.
Right.
All right.
That's on a historical note. The Mann Act came into existence with famous boxer, world champion Jack Johnson.
Okay.
Right. Jack Johnson during the 1910 to 1915, or 1910 to 1917 probably.
Okay.
Was the world champ back then, right? Beating up on white folks, right? As a world champ. And not only he beat up on white folks, Jack Johnson also paraded white women around, right? Jack Johnson
background.
He married white women, and this is a time that black men was being lynched. They was being hanged, and you know, it was taboo. It was a crime to date a white woman. In fact, it was against the law for black and white to couple or have babies by each other or be married. But Jack Johnson defied all those rules and laws, and paraded white women from state to state. Right? Not paraded white woman. He's married to a white woman.
Okay.
And he happened to drive from one state to another state, and they created the Mann Act, right?
Yeah.
It was transporting white women from state to state, and they called the man.
White woman was his.
It was his wife. Yeah.
Okay.
And they charged him with transporting, doing the crime of prostitution.
Okay.
Transporting prostitutes from one state to another, but this person that they said was a prostitute was actually his wife, and he transported her from state to state. Not even transport her. He was
just driving.
It's like they driving.
Okay.
So if I say, let's go from New York to down south, right?
Okay.
And I cross state lines along the way, that's a federal charge. When you cross state lines, state is federal, right? So even in the Mann Act. Fast forward to modern times, the Mann Act still playing in existence. This is where the Mann Act come from. And Puffy is being charged under the Mann Act, transporting. No. Yes.
He's being charged under the RICO conspiracy and sex trafficking.
Okay.
But not under the Mann Act.
No,
it's the same.
It was mentioned.
It's similar.
It was mentioned. No, it was mentioned just this evening.
Oh yeah.
About
Incredible
seven newscasters about this was the Mann Act.
Maybe the evidence is actually showing just the Mann Act as opposed to meeting the criteria of RICO.
Well, when they saying RICO is part of the charge. RICO is something, and the young gentleman just said it. Also, the Mann Act. The RICO is part of is the conspiracy, but in one of the crimes that he's is alleged that he committed was transporting someone from state to state for
purpose of
prostitution.
Okay.
Right? Now let's be real about this, right?
Okay, let me see something. Go ahead.
This is Puff Daddy, right? And I'm gonna give him this. They have women been places all around the world and have had women all around the world, right? Free of charge. Right? Just on the muscle, just on the strength that he's Puff Daddy, right? He's Puffy. He has access to women because he has money like that, right? So when you have money like that, you have access to women, you have access to groupies. Let's be logical about this, right? So you're telling me that these groupies, for instance, right? Anyone could be in this situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
We would say we might be the star of the party, or you might have a female that likes you. Say, listen, all right, yo, babe, listen, we gonna go from New York to North Carolina. We're gonna get in this car. We're gonna drive to North Carolina. They got a big party down there. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna take you shopping. I'm gonna spend some money on you. So you take her on a trip,
Okay.
right?
You said that before. Yeah.
And you end up in North Carolina. If she decide to cry rape or decide to cry whatever she want to cry, that means you could be charged, right? Oh, he took me around down here to have sex with me or have sex with his friends,
Okay.
you could be charged with the Mann Act, right? You
Right.
transport a groupie from one place to another that she agreed to go, but when she got to the end of the journey, she decided to say, you committed this crime against me. You wanted to prostitute me. And you're being charged, right? You will be
Okay.
charged. Puffy, for one, didn't need to transport anybody. He could go from his private jet from state to state and have any woman that he want without taking anyone. But if I decide to take a bunch of groupies with me and I'm going to shop, I'm going to wine and dine, I'm going to shop, take you shopping and do everything else. Now this big case come up and you cry bloody murder, and the government come and charge you with this crime of, oh, he was transporting prostitutes from state to state. You mean to tell me the money that you would get transporting a prostitute from state to state and the money that he was making? This is a multi-$100 million man, right? He don't got a
Okay.
couple of millions. He have hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Close to $1 billion, right?
Okay.
And you're trying to say that
So,
he had to make money this kind of way, taking women from state to state, prostituting these women.
was
Come
there
on.
any testimony that he was getting money like that, like he was pimping them?
Not that I know of,
I didn't hear nothing either. Don't mean it didn't
but
happen.
they
I didn't hear nothing.
but they charged him
Okay.
with it. They charged him with
Okay.
it. No, they charged and they indicted him.
I'm gonna
You
give
know.
you this.
Mhm.
So I asked Google, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, yo, anything I say something you don't believe, you could Google it.
Mm-hmm.
So I Googled it because I wasn't sure. So I asked, was the Mann Act still in effect or had it been repealed?
Mhm.
So the answer came back, no, the Mann Act has not been repealed, but it has been amended, enacted in 1910.
Mhm.
The act was originally designed to combat the interstate transportation of women and girls for prostitution
Mhm.
or any other immoral purpose, but never repealed, meaning it wasn't taken back, it
Right.
wasn't
It
canceled,
still exists.
right? The Mann Act has been updated to address concerns about its application to consensual sexual activity and to provide better protection for minors,
Mm-hmm.
right? So here's a more detailed explanation. Initial purpose. The Mann Act was intended to address the issue of human trafficking
Mm-hmm.
and prostitution by making it illegal to transport individuals across state lines for such purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So then in 1978, it was another amendment. Congress clarified the definition of transportation in the act and added protection for minors. Then in 1986, that was in 1978. Then they amended it again in 1986. The act was amended to replace the ambiguous term debauchery
Mm-hmm.
and other immoral purpose with any sexual activity for which any person can be charged with a criminal offense. This amendment aimed to narrow the scope of the act and prevent its misuse in prosecuting consensual activity.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, wait a minute, hold on. Ain't that what these girls saying they was doing? They consented, someone was dressing up the rooms and making it this way and that way for this dude.
Mhm.
So that was mostly consensual.
Yeah.
So this is in the 1986 amendment to the Mann Act. They were saying they amended it to prevent its misuse in prosecuting consensual activity.
Mm-hmm.
So I could have sworn, ain't
It's
that
okay.
like what they doing
Let's-
now with this dude?
Yes.
Because most of that stuff is consensual.
Now,
How do you-
now, let's go to the Mann Act, right?
yeah,
Hear me
that's
out.
what I'm at.
Let's go to Jack Johnson. Let's history of Jack Johnson.
Okay.
All right. Now I read as follow. I asked a question. Was
Okay.
Jack Johnson charged with the Mann Act? It says yes. Jack Johnson
Okay.
was charged with excuse me. Jack Johnson was charged with and convicted under the Mann Act.
Wow.
The charges stemmed from his relationships with white women. specifically his transportation of Belle Schreiber across state lines, which was deemed a violation of the law. The Mann Act was intended to combat human trafficking and prostitution, but it was often used to prosecute individuals for consensual sexual activity, as was the case with Johnson.
Okay.
All right. Here's more detailed explanation. The Mann Act, also known as the White Slave Traffic Act, right, for white women, was passed in 1910 and aimed to prevent the transportation of women across state lines for immoral purposes like prostitution. Johnson's case. Johnson was accused of violating the Mann Act by transporting Belle Schreiber, a white woman, from Pittsburgh to Chicago in 1910.
What is Belle Schreiber? Is that his wife or something? Or they not saying right
While the official charge was based on transporting Schreiber, the case is widely seen as motivated by racial prejudice and Johnson's relationships with white women, which were a source of outrage among some white Americans at the time. Conviction and aftermath. Johnson was convicted in 1913 and sentenced to a year and a day in prison. He fled the country before serving his sentence, but eventually surrendered and served time in Leavenworth Penitentiary.
Federal Penitentiary.
Posthumous pardon. In 2018, over a century after his conviction, Jack Johnson was posthumously pardoned by President Donald Trump, acknowledging the injustice of his conviction.
Hold up.
Yes.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
My man Trump? Nah.
Hold up. Wait, didn't I just read what they said on CNN News that Puffy told his mother, don't worry, everything gonna be all right?
Let's go.
And these dudes talk about that could mean that's what everybody say? But wait, you just said Donald Trump pardoned this dude and he was dead.
Yeah.
Right? He was dead.
Yeah.
He pardoned him. So now, didn't they have a conversation on the news? They was talking about Trump was asked, if Puffy was convicted, would you consider pardoning him?
Mm-hmm. And what did he say?
I guess that's the. I think he said he liked the guy. I don't know what Trump is saying, but I think he said, I think I like the guy. I seen him around, and then they showed some pictures with him and Trump throughout the years at different events. So is this what he's saying? Don't worry about it because he got this dude. Okay, all right.
Great. Now so let me just elaborate a little more about the Mann Act, right? The Mann Act was born during the white slavery hysteria of the early 20th century, along with other moral purity movements of the period. The white slavery craze had its roots in fears over the rapid changes that the Industrial Revolution had brought to American society. Urbanization, immigration, the changing role of women, and evolving social mores. As young single women moved to the city and entered the workforce, they were no longer protected by the traditional family-centered system of courtship and were subjected to what Jane Addams called the grosser temptations, which now best beset the young people who are living in its tenements, houses, and working in its factories. Basically, what he's talking about is that when out of slavery, right?
This came out.
They didn't want white women intermingling or procreating with black men, right?
Okay.
Or any other person of color in that time, right? They want to keep their race pure, right? They want to keep their whiteness pure. So this is where this racism, when you talk about this Mann Act and talk about what Puffy's been doing, this is where that's the origin of where the Mann Act came from, right?
Okay.
And it was a racist law that was enacted to prevent black and white amalgamation, black and white procreation, right?
There was no white girls in this trial, though.
Huh?
I said there was no white girls, but it's girls.
But it transformed to be taking prostitution, preventing prostitution, going across state lines, all the other foolishness. Right. The man, like I said, is $100 million man. He didn't need to prostitute anybody, take anybody across state lines. Women willingly went with him across state lines.
Why they charged him that? Was that the conspiracy theory that they talking about with these liquor companies?
But I don't know about the conspiracy theory, right?
Okay.
And as far as the alcohol, but it's plausible, right?
Okay.
It's plausible, and it's plausible just as you see a lot of these music moguls, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, let's if you want to talk about conspiracy theory,
Okay.
right? If you want to get in a ring of conspiracy theory, let's look at this fact, right?
Go ahead.
In the 1980s and 90s, who was winning in the rap industry? It was white men who had dominated the rap industry.
Okay,
Right?
we're talking about on executive levels, yes.
Yeah, on executive
Okay,
levels,
right.
absolutely.
Them little
Right?
millions they gave the artists was peanuts.
The
compared to what
peanuts.
they
They
was
gave
getting. Okay.
$20,000 advancement, $50,000 advancement. They was
Right.
getting no money, right?
Mhm.
And the white man walked away with all your royalties, all your masters, and he
Okay.
owned you essentially, right? They gave you a
Okay.
stipend, or they gave you what did they call it? It was
Clout?
no, it wasn't a stipend. It was advance, right? They gave you
Okay.
advance, which you had to pay back anyway, right?
Okay.
You still had to pay back. They gave you advance, you'll buy this house, but you're gonna give us 10 albums, right?
Okay.
They had full control of $1 billion industry. It was $1 billion industry since the 80s,
Okay.
right? Now, fast forward. Here you got Puffy, Jay-Z, Master P, Dr. Dre, right?
Sure.
Suge Knight,
Mhm.
even some rap artists, Kanye West, Drake, who was listed as having made $1 billion in his rap industry.
Right.
They elbowed these white folks out of position.
Okay.
Bottom line, you don't see the what's the Lyles Cone was with
Def Jam.
Def Jams.
Yeah.
You don't see Clyde Davis. You don't see none of these people in the forefront of the music industry. You see black
Right.
men who elbowed them out and took their position. Now you got to come to us, and we allow you access to this $1 billion industry, right?
Okay.
Annually, billions of dollars of industry they make in the rap industry,
Right.
right? And white folks are upset. The government's upset, and it reached the government. It reached government to levels because we talk about billions of dollars. We're not talking about pennies.
Right.
When you talk about billions of dollars,
Would it be?
yes, would it be?
Billion would it be?
Billion would it be?
Gotcha.
Right? The same way when Muammar Gaddafi wanted to give Minister Louis Farrakhan $1 billion,
Right.
and they told Farrakhan, you cannot accept that money from Muammar Gaddafi. Many people don't know about that. This happened in the late 80s.
Okay.
Right? They wanted to give Minister Louis Farrakhan $1 billion to further advance his plight. And the American government said, hell no, we're not allowing that. Right?
They didn't
Because
want
they
the
understand
advancement of a
you
revolution.
have $1 billion, because you can have your own country with $1 billion. You have some countries that are in existence who don't make $1 billion, but
Right.
they are in existence as countries. They have a whole government, but they don't have that per capita. But nevertheless, right?
Okay.
You have these billionaire moguls who happen to be black, and
All right.
white folks they want to get in. They want to get part of that money, right?
Right.
So you want to talk about conspiracy level? It's plausible because
Okay. It's plausible.
we want to get you out the way. We
Right.
just
We
no,
need all our billions.
Come on, they did
we
it.
need all our
They
billions.
did it to
back.
Bill Cosby too.
Yeah.
Bill Cosby wanted to buy a whole television station, a whole network, and
Yeah, but they said-
they dubbed him.
Okay.
But we don't know the history of Bill Cosby prior to whatever sexual allegations they mentioned against him. But Bill Cosby has a history of educating black people and educating and
Yeah.
putting money, investing hundreds of millions of dollars into seeing that come alive.
Right.
Right? But we don't know that kind of history about Bill Cosby. Right. If you want to know about a little bit more about Bill Cosby, look at his documentary. His documentary is called Black History Lost and Stolen, where he narrates the conditioning of black children's minds, right, or black people's minds through social media and a lot of, among other things, right? So
well, that's happening now today.
But it was happening in the 60s. He was telling you about it back then.
Back then, yeah.
In the 50s and 60s, he was telling you back then. And he invested hundreds of millions of dollars into black awareness and black education and black lives. But we don't talk about that, right? Because we don't know the history of Bill Cosby, right? We only talk about what he did and this deviant behavior that he claimed that he did, right?
Okay, go ahead, tie it up.
So the bottom line is that we got to start opening our eyes to the bigger picture. There's a bigger picture behind what we're seeing, right? And the worst thing is to condemn our own, allow these people to use us to condemn our own people, right? The worst thing that we did to Puffy right? And I'm not saying that he's not guilty of any of what they're claiming,
You'll find out. But go ahead.
but we didn't allow him to have his right to say I'm innocent but till proven guilty. We died for that right. We died to be proven because it was a time that we was proven we was guilty. Then we had to be proven innocent.
Right.
When you was hanging from a tree, you was guilty. Then it come out 100 years later, you had to be proven guilty.
We talked about that.
Emmett Till was
That's what we
guilty
talked about.
until the people who accused him of doing what he did,
Caucasian lady.
right, came back 50, 80 years later, said, oh, he didn't do that.
Right.
Right? But he was already dead. So we didn't forward Puffy we convicted him and do public opinion of him. Right? We
The
convicted
media convicted him.
No, the media convicted him,
Yeah.
and they use us to
Push their agenda.
to push the agenda.
Okay.
Right? So
All right,
we
all right.
found we used to fight to be proven to be innocent, be proven guilty, until proven guilty.
Right.
Now we just surrender that right and say, listen, hell with that. He's guilty. And you get a man the benefit of the doubt.
But listen, let me say this, right?
Sure.
Yeah, right. That's one way to look at it. But when you back up and you say like what you talking about with social media,
Mhm.
and we said this on the show before,
Mhm.
how they flooded the media with the picture of the girl Cassie getting beat in the hotel, blah 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 blah.
Yep.
And then somewhere in there they tying her to these charges. Got to be with the sex trafficking. I did not watch the trial. I was not in the courtroom and everything like that. In fact, I had no interest until Polo got me interested. So now, and I'm still interested if we want to keep that $1,000 bet. But we ain't talking about that yet. So what I'm saying now is that ladies and gentlemen, I know y'all didn't see it because we was off camera, but I had to straighten Polo out. Now you hear what he's saying, right? The bet is off. All right, so moving past that and getting back to the law library. So now the social media, the tempo of the traction that the video picked up and everything, I believe those are the results of all that is already decided in counts 2 to 5, somewhere in there. But what I'm stuck on, and I'm gonna stay stuck on until they say something tomorrow or something like that, is that count 1. Because the Mann Act behavior, the RICO sex charges, sex trafficking, all that is coming under the RICO conspiracy, right?
Mhm.
But who is he conspired with? You see what I'm saying? And, the Supreme Court of the United States never directly said it, but it's just fundamental law that it takes 2 people to conspire with, to conspire. So, I mean, like, are we heading to, moving forward, are we heading to the count 1 going to be a hung jury, he get retried? Because, if you get a hung jury, mistrial, you get retried, right? Especially on the hung jury, double jeopardy don't attach. Because,
Correct.
you're stuck.
Correct.
You can't go one way or the other. So there's no double jeopardy protections from the Constitution that stop him from being retried again. But the question is the judge going to let him go at the hung jury and then come in and address the Rule 29 motion for the judgment of acquittal?
Well,
that's what
I don't think this court is just gonna let him go. And the young gentleman mentioned about O.J. Simpson, and he, as in comparison to Puffy. I can't remember, but that was on a state level. That's what he don't know.
Oh, right.
Didn't know. That was a state level. This is a federal level. So it's a different ball game. This government got more. They got more strength and more money behind their machine, right?
Right.
So I think that
is what make the states united.
Yeah, absolutely. Federal government make the states united. Federalism and but I believe that Puffy is not going to be all these charges, right?
Okay. Anything specific you see?
No.
That you would lean towards more?
No, it's nothing specific in my mind, but I just that's really know how the game play when they load up the indictment against you. When they throw 1,000 charges.
Shotgun theory.
Shotgun theory. And they got the jury weighing against, whether we gonna give him this, whether we gonna give him that. and we spoke about this before. How
Okay.
even when the jury wanted to give you, they feel you didn't do this. They got about 50 other small charges that they say, well, I don't want to convict him of this because I don't really want to send him away, but they send you away based on the little
anyway.
what they think is lower charges, right? Think charges carry a small amount of time, and they convict you of those lighter charges, not knowing that you're going to be convicted anyway, right? They trying to save you, but and this I don't really want to let him go, but I don't think he did all this, but
Okay.
but I'm gonna find him get them something.
Okay.
Right? Not that they really know and analyze that you did the lower charges, but they don't want to let you go because they own bias. I don't want to let them go.
Okay.
I have completely no faith in the American justice system and jury system and the jury, right? In particular, because like it's an old saying that the jury would indict a ham sandwich, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Ham sandwich ain't did nothing but lay between two pieces of bread.
Yeah,
and he going to jail.
He going to jail, right? because they don't listen, they don't pay attention.
Right.
They don't, and people got their own agenda. They want to get the hell out of that courtroom. They don't want to be stuck there. Yes.
Wait a minute. Did they say they had hors d'oeuvres and shit like that at the free call? Ham sandwiches and shit?
I don't know.
They should have got indicted. But look, I just want to do this. I'm going to wrap it, right? Because it's late and this guy called me out. I wanted to address it. I'm telling you, I said it before, that count one is a problem. Straight up a problem. But let me just run this to y'all and everybody out there about the Rule 29, right? So Rule 29 motion can be made by the defendant at the close of the government's evidence, at the close of all the evidence, or after a guilty verdict or jury discharge. So whatever they do, this motion has to, wait, let me, now it's stuck.
It's like a 30-30 motion on the state level?
No. 30-30 motion.
Is after the verdict, right?
I don't know. I don't want to get into that.
Okay.
Right now. That's state law. That's in the back. And my other co-host, Bobby's not here. He would tell us right at the top.
That.
And of course, my brother Tia, he's passed on. And that's state law. Although I dib and dab in that, I can't tell you right now. Because I'm stuck on count one. So I want to know, where is the co-conspirator?
Well, listen.
Because I want to know how I got convicted of conspiracy and I ain't conspired with nobody. I ain't said shit and agreed to nothing.
See, but they're saying since the judge will tell them don't worry about because they ain't called any co-conspirators. Don't worry about because they don't got no co-defendants.
I swore
so
they reported that.
You're saying convict me. You tell them to convict me as conspiring with someone. I'm conspiring with who? A ghost?
No, the mirror itself.
I'm conspiring myself. You can't conspire with yourself. You have to have something else. Two or more has to conspire together. It has to be in cahoots. So if they're not in cahoots, you can't bring. It's like leaning towards circumstantial evidence, and sometimes circumstantial evidence is more stronger than direct evidence.
Well,
I know on a state level. I don't know. I don't know about the federal level. Right?
Yeah.
So circumstantial evidence.
Enough of it.
You're just creating these scenarios, and saying that I conspired, but you ain't bringing nobody forth to say this is my co-defendant, and I told you to do this, and I told you to do that. There's a lot of hoopla out there. There's a lot of people making the allegations.
Okay.
But I haven't seen the government bring anybody.
But let me just say this. When you said you haven't seen him tell this one to do that or this one to do that, that's the crime itself. I ain't talking about the agreement is separate from the actual crime. We agreeing to do this.
I get it.
And then we take the steps to do it.
That's a part of elements, It's part of elements of the crime, right?
Right. So it's going to be some type of variance. But I just want to read this into the record real quick. Federal Rule Criminal Procedure Rule 29 governs motions for judgment of acquittal in federal criminal trials. It allows the defendant to request the court to enter a judgment of acquittal if the evidence presented at trial is insufficient to sustain a conviction. So with that, the other thing is real quick is that if the judge enters that judgment of acquittal and let them go, even though he sees that they saying they stuck, because he's looking at the same evidence they looking at,
Mhm.
so he already know they stuck. So what happens is, um, the government can appeal the grant of a motion for acquittal if it was made after a guilty verdict.
Mhm.
Right? This is not a hung jury now.
Mhm.
After a guilty verdict, if the appellate court reverses the acquittal, the trial court must proceed with the new trial if one is granted or is directed by the appellate court.
Mhm.
So, in other words, it still don't end.
You know, let me say this to that,
How you
right?
feel about that?
The trial judge always have the luxury of telling you get it on appeal,
That's the number one saying.
get it on appeal, because they're not in the business of supporting the defense. They're gonna side with the prosecution. They're gonna do everything in their power to convict you, because it's in their best interest to convict you. It's not You're not just fighting the prosecutor, you're fighting the judge as well, and sometimes your own lawyer. So,
Okay.
but it's always in the government's best interest. They are
Right.
officers of the court, right? The judge, the DA, and your attorney, officers of the court. But the officers of the court, on far as the DA and the judge, they lean towards convicting an individual,
That's the
not
standard under Rule 29. You
Mhm.
got to look at the evidence in the light most favorable
to the defense,
to the government.
to the government.
That's the
Then-
standard of this rule.
If that's a standard,
understand?
then you're done. If that's a standard, for me, is clearly where it's going, right?
Right,
He's
yeah.
gonna look at it and he's gonna find any kind of way to say,
Right.
nah, the government met their burden, right? And get it on appeal, right? So, I think some of this is Puffy's gonna have to get on appeal.
Right. So, okay. Yo, this joint is deep, man, but we ain't got enough time to go into it. It's late. I'm tired. I'm stuttering and everything. It's cold. I asked for heat. They got on air conditioning.
And I just want,
So-
I just want to say say, Puffy, if you're listening,
Go ahead.
bro, listen, I've been in 2 trials in my life, right?
Expert at trial. I've been in one.
And
I lost
where
two.
where I received
Yeah.
a lot of time, right? And when I had one of my convictions overturned, reversed, I went down there with the plan, and my plan was I was coming back up with the same time that I had,
Yeah.
right? Because these people, you're fighting a system, you're fighting a machine, and then they're not in the business of losing, right? So,
Okay.
if you was to get a little time that you feel you could do, consider it, because I know a lot of brothers, and I was once that person myself, who said, "Damn, man, if I only took this little bit of time, I'd have been home by now." Right?
Oh, wait.
Hold on.
Are you saying you think he should plead guilty to something? Like
Listen,
if they get stuck on count one or something? Are you saying
I'm saying
you're gonna lose your money too, Paul?
I don't know if that's I don't know if
you deaded that bet.
I don't know if that's possible, but I'm saying that we can't play game with our lives, because these people have more firepower than you have.
Right.
And that's the reality, right? That's reality. And I'm saying he has to be mindful of his family, right? And sometimes you have to take a small loss rather than take a big loss, right?
Well,
and that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I don't know if you ever will hear this, but this is like, don't go playing games with those people. Those people is a system that you can't necessarily win. They have a high conviction rate for a reason.
98%.
Because they cheat.
98%.
Because they cheat, not because they play in fear. It's because they cheat, and they know how to cheat, and they got the power to cheat.
Right.
So if you could get around it, because at the end of the day, the brother has already been convicted by public opinion, and he can't rebound from that, because people have their fixed view on him already, right? He can't come out and say, "I'm gonna be the same Puffy I used to be."
Yeah.
He's never gonna be seeing that light, and it's sad, right?
All right. Well, I hear you. So anyway, in wrapping this up, man, this episode, the continuation of part 1 earlier, I'm saying there's an issue with count 1. The jury's saying there's an issue with count 1. The government knows there's an issue with count 1. And the defense team knows the issue with count 1. That's why the jury have not completed their deliberation and they stuck on count 1. Now, what the issue is exactly, I don't know, because I'm not in that room. I think is they still looking for the co-defendant. Where is the co-defendant? Who did it? Where the dummy at? Oh shit! Wait, the dummy got out.
He up there.
Oh, I was getting ready to say, even the dummy knew something was wrong, and he got up out of here.
Pull him right there.
Nah, let the dummy stay there.
Pull him again.
No, he in the right. Hold on.
Hey, look at the dummy.
Hold on, man.
Y'all think
y'all got me clowning
down. Put my man
Hey,
right
look, man. Hey, listen. Where is the co-defendant? Now, you got your mouth open. You done told on everything else.
Talk, dummy, talk.
Where is the co-defendant in count one? Say, man, I don't know. I'm just a dummy. So, you know. All right, so my man, the dummy, he got his mouth open, but he can't even tell you where the co-defendant in count one is. Yo, with that, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, man, I wish you well, Sean. I wish you well, Puffy. I wish you well, Diddy. I'm not calling you brother to love. I ain't into that shit. So now what I'm saying to you, man, is good luck, man. May God be with you.
And God bless your family, brother.
Peace and blessings from the Law Library. You heard it here. Ykim. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, it's dedicated to all my homies locked down. Don't give up hope. Keep your mind focused. Trigger happy, pappy, strong. Come on. Take these bars and put them in your conversary. The laws is deadly, gotta get your mind ready. Pay attention, you could be home by January. I'd like to welcome you to my law library. Take these bars and put them in your conversary. The laws is deadly, gotta get your mind ready. Pay attention, you could be home by January. I'd like to welcome you to my law library. Hustlers who hustling, gun busters who squeezing, gangsters who eating, thieves who sneak thieving. If you still breathing, I'd like to welcome you to section 190.05 grand jury proceedings. You broke the law allegedly and you caught a case. You sitting in the cell with your hands on your face. The district attorney, they gotta get an indictment, so they take your case to the grand jury. You not invited. Now you could let the DA go and choose your fate, or you could go to the grand jury and plead your case. No less than 16 people, no more than 23, and paneled by a superior court. Understand me, gotta look them in the eyes, as simple as can be. Make them believe you innocent, you could be free. But you know it's always a flip side to every coin. The judge, the legal way, DA, they all join. And if you get indicted, keep a memory file, cause you gotta tell the same story when you go to trial. Adolescents, adults, and juveniles, I hope you jotting this down. If you locked up for more than 120 hours, man, just wait. Cause without the disposition of a felony complaint or commencement of a hearing, they gotta open the gate and give you a R&R. That's your 180-80 date. This is just a briefing of the knowledge I possess. In the belly of the beast, they put you to the test. My law library, what chapter is next? Section 12010. Warrant of arrest, law library. Law library.